He never understood what exactly made him look through her phone. Perhaps boredom. Perhaps that ghostly, barely perceptible shadow of routine that had fallen over their perfect marriage. Or the demon that had been whispering in his ear for weeks. Check. Test her. Set up a trial. You need to be sure. He was sure. Absolutely. But the worm of doubt was already gnawing at him from the inside, and the only medicine he could see was a cruel, stupid, utterly idiotic experiment. A prank. He wanted to pull a prank on his wife. John imagined it all like in a movie. He sits with a stony face, delivers the prepared line about how it's over, that he's leaving. The camera, hidden in the bookshelf, secretly records how the smile slowly fades from her face, how tears well up in her eyes, how she tries to stop him. And then, the climax. He turns around, his face breaks into a smile. He pulls a box with that very ring he'd been saving for 3 months from behind his back and shouts, "I'm just joking, darling. Happy birthday." And then the tears would turn to laughter. She would beat his chest with her little fists, and then they would make love right there on the floor in the hallway, and it would be the most passionate sex in years. He didn't want pain. He wanted confirmation. Bright, fiery, like a firework. Confirmation that she loved him to the point of panic, to fainting, to the inability to breathe without him. He didn't want it to go differently. He didn't want his stupid joke to become a point of no return. But it did. And now, looking at Emma's back, rising and falling rhythmically with her breathing, he understood he had burned down their shared home, and now they had nowhere to hide from the cold. It all started on a perfect Friday. He left work early on purpose. He bought her favorite truffles, expensive white wine, went all over the city looking for those specific peonies she adored. He cleaned the house, lit scented candles with the smell of sandalwood, her favorite. He wanted to create the atmosphere of a flawless evening, so the blow would be even more palpable and the subsequent relief even sweeter. Emma came home tired. She kicked off her high heels right at the doorstep, as always, and walked into the kitchen, drawn by the aroma of dinner. "John, what's wrong?" Her eyes widened in surprise. "My birthday isn't for another month. Did you get fired? Did someone die?" She was joking, but her voice carried a hint of wariness. They hadn't surprised each other like this for no reason on an ordinary day in a long time. "Nothing's wrong," he smiled, trying to make it look natural. "I just wanted to do something nice for you. You work so hard." He walked over, hugged her, inhaled the familiar scent of her shampoo and the coolness of the outside air. And for a second, he felt ashamed. The thought of abandoning the plan flashed through his mind again, but he pushed it away. He had planned it all out too thoroughly. Dinner was wonderful. They chatted about nothing, laughed, recalled funny incidents from their vacation in Spain 2 years ago. He poured her wine, caught her eye, and thought, Now I'll ruin everything. Now I'll hurt her so it can feel even better later." He waited for a pause, and it came. Emma pushed her plate away, sighed with pleasure, and reached for her phone. "Wow, Lisa is texting, asking if I want to tomorrow," she began, but he interrupted her. His voice had already changed, become flatter, colder. "Emma, we need to talk." She looked up at him, and the smile slowly faded from her face. She felt the change in his tone. Woman's intuition. That damned woman's intuition that picks up the slightest vibrations of a lie. "About what?" she asked, putting her phone aside. Her fingers tapped nervously on the countertop. He paused as rehearsed, looking somewhere past her, at the dark window reflecting their scene. "I don't know how to say this." He ran a hand over his face, feigning fatigue and confusion. "I've been thinking, but it's pointless. I can't do this anymore." "Can't do what anymore?" "John, you're scaring me. Just say it." "I met another woman," he blurted out. The phrase sounded hollow and unnatural, like a poorly learned line in a school play. He expected hysterics, denial, tears. Instead, a heavy, oppressive silence hung in the kitchen. Emma stared at him without blinking. Her face was completely impassive, a mask. Only a slight tremble at the corners of her lips betrayed her. "What?" she whispered finally. Her voice was quiet and hoarse. "I said, there's someone else." We've been seeing each other for a few months. It's serious. I fell in love. I'm sorry." He said that word, sorry, and it was this fake, prepared apology that became the first crack in his stupid plan. Because there wasn't a hint of genuine remorse in his tone. There was only badly acted drama. Emma slowly pushed her chair back and stood up. She walked to the sink, turned her back to him. Her shoulders were tense. "Who is she?" she asked in an even, icy voice. The question caught him off guard. He hadn't worked out the supporting roles. He hadn't come up with a name for the mythical mistress. It doesn't matter," he stammered. "You don't know her. From work? From the gym? Where did you meet? In our house? In our bed?" Each of her questions was like the lash of a whip. Quiet, cold, deadly. "No, I mean, we met at a hotel. Sometimes." He felt the ground slipping away beneath his feet. The script was falling apart. She was supposed to cry, scream, not conduct a cross-examination. "I see," she nodded, still looking out the window above the sink. "So what now? Are you leaving me for her? Now?" He was inwardly jubilant. This was it. The moment he was supposed to stop everything, laugh and shout, "April Fools," or "It's a prank, baby." But something stopped him. Her coldness, her icy calm, her refusal to play by his rules. He felt hurt. Did she not even care? Her husband just confessed to an affair, and she's staring out the window. A stupid, childish resentment made him continue. He decided to go further, to spin the flywheel of absurdity even harder, so that later, when he revealed the truth, her relief would be even brighter. "Yes," he said, and for the first time real emotion, anger, and wounded pride crept into his voice. "Yes, I'm leaving. Now. I've already packed my things." He lied. His suitcase was peacefully resting in the closet. Emma turned around sharply. Her face was pale but dry. Her eyes were two pieces of ice. "Your things? You've already packed? So it's decided. And it's been decided for a while." "For a while," he said hoarsely, already hating himself but unable to stop. It was like sliding into an abyss. He couldn't confess now. It would look like mockery. She nodded slowly as if finally deciding something for herself. Then her gaze fell on her phone lying on the table. A notification was blinking on it. She picked up the device, swiped the screen, her face expressionless. "Okay," she said quietly. "Then I won't keep you." She walked out of the kitchen without looking back. He heard her footsteps fade on the stairs. He was left standing in the middle of the kitchen, completely bewildered. What had just happened? Where was the hysterics? Where were the tears? Where was his triumphant reveal? He felt like a complete idiot. He almost decided to run after her, fall to his knees, and confess everything. But then he heard her car start in the garage below. He rushed to the window. Her red Mini Cooper pulled out of the driveway and sped off toward the highway. Where? Where could she have gone? To a friend's? To her parents'? He grabbed his phone to text her that it was a joke, but his fingers froze. No, he would see it through. He would wait for her to return. He would meet her at the doorstep with the ring and flowers, and then she would appreciate the sheer scale of his creativity. Yes, that's exactly what he would do. An hour passed. 2. She still wasn't back. He began to get nervous. He called her. Her phone was off. He texted Lisa, her best friend. She replied instantly. "Emma? No, she's not with me. Is something wrong?" A cold fear pricked at his chest for the first time. He imagined her crying on the side of the road somewhere. Or worse, he already hated his stupid idea. He would have given anything to turn back time. At mid:30, he heard a car pull into the driveway. Not her Mini. A big, powerful SUV. He jumped to the window. A tall man he had never seen before got out of the driver's side. The man walked around the car and opened the passenger door. Emma got out. She was laughing. Her face was animated. Her eyes shone under the streetlight. She was saying something to the man, and he smiled back. Then he leaned down and kissed her on the cheek. Tenderly, respectfully. But it was a kiss. John was speechless. He watched as the stranger got back into his car and drove away. And Emma, still with a slight smile on her face, walked to the front door. She had no bags? Nothing. She didn't look like a woman who had just experienced the collapse of her marriage. The key turned in the lock. She walked into the hallway and stopped when she saw him. Her smile vanished instantly. Her expression became closed again, icy. "You're still here?" she said in an indifferent tone. "I thought you'd already left for your—" "Serious woman." "Emma, who was that?" He breathed. His voice trembled. "It doesn't matter," she parried, using his own phrase. "You said it wasn't important." "Emma, it was. It was a joke," he finally blurted out, feeling panic grip him. "A prank. Understand? I wanted to. I wanted to surprise you. I never cheated on you. Never. Here, look." He frantically reached into his jeans pocket, pulled out a velvet box and opened it. The diamonds sparkled coldly under the chandelier light. "I wanted to set it up like in the movies. Scare you, and then give you this." It was all planned. He looked at her, expecting the ice to melt, expecting her to fall into his arms, to cry and laugh at the same time. Emma walked slowly up to him, looked at the ring, then raised her eyes to him. There was no relief in her gaze, no joy, only infinite, all-consuming weariness and contempt. "Congratulations, John," she said quietly. "Your prank was a success. You achieved exactly what you wanted." "What? No, You wanted to see my reaction? You wanted to see your wife, who trusted you with her whole life, shatter into pieces? Well, take a look." She spread her arms wide. "Here they are, the pieces. Are you happy? But you didn't shatter," he almost screamed. "You left. You came back with some guy who kissed you. Who was that, Emma? Answer me." She shook her head, and tears glistened in her eyes. But they weren't tears of pain from his affair. They were tears of bitter disappointment. "You confessed to cheating on me, coldly, cynically, without a hint of remorse. You said you'd packed your bags. You said you were leaving. You tore our family apart with one conversation. And you think that now, when you say, 'just kidding,' everything will go back to normal. You think I should throw my arms around your neck. You destroyed everything, John. Everything that was between us. You took it and threw it in the trash for a few minutes of cheap, dramatic effect. But I love you." He sobbed, falling to his knees before her. "I'm an idiot. I realized it as soon as you left. Forgive me. For God's sake, forgive me." She looked down at him, and there wasn't a trace of pity in her face. "That man," she began slowly, and her voice was quiet and merciless, "is Alan. We met 6 months ago in a pottery class. I always liked him. He was quiet. And today, when you gifted me your cruel joke, I felt like my world had collapsed. I got in the car and drove, not knowing where. I ended up at his house. I was crying. He comforted me. He was kind. And in those few hours, he gave me more warmth and respect than you have in years. He just held my hand and listened silently. He didn't try to prank me." John looked at her, unable to utter a word. His world had finally collapsed. His prank had spiraled out of control and boomeranged right back into him. "I didn't sleep with him," Emma said coldly, as if reading his thoughts, "but I let him know it was possible. In the future, when I sort out what's left of my life, of our life." She stepped over him, lying on the floor in the hallway, and started up the stairs. "Emma, what? What happens now?" he groaned. She stopped halfway up, not turning around. "Now you pack your things for real, and you leave, to your mythical lover or wherever you want. And I will think. Maybe I'll call Alan. Maybe I won't. But one thing I know for sure. It's over between us. Your stupid, childish, cruel prank killed everything I ever felt for you. Congratulations. You've become the funniest man in the world. And the loneliest." She went upstairs. A few minutes later, he heard the lock click in the bedroom. His lock. In his house. He sat on the cold floor of the hallway, clutching the velvet box with the now unnecessary ring. He could hear the wind howling off the lake onto the terrace. Their fortress had fallen. And he was the one who had set fire to the gates with his own hands. For a laugh. For likes in an imaginary internet. for confirmation that he already had, but was too blind and stupid to see. He sat like that until morning, but the bedroom door never opened again.